Chakshura Udmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. In the continuation of reading Lord Chaitanya's teaching, such a transcendental relationship with the Supreme Lord cannot, however, be manufactured by the mental concoction of a pseudo devotee. In this connection, Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu has stated that devotional service without reference to Vedic scriptures as well as to Vedic literature following the principles of Vedic scripture can never be approved. Sri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj remarks that those who are professional spiritual masters, professional Bhagavatam reciters, professional performance of kirtan, or persons who are engaged in so-called devotional service of their own mental concoction cannot be accepted. There are different kinds of professional communities known as Aul, Vaul, Kartabhaja, Nada Darbesa, Stansnai, Atibibadi, Gudhari, Gauranga Gangagari. A member of the Venter Goswami Society or the caste called Goswami cannot be accepted as the descendant of the six original Goswamis. Similarly, so-called devotees who manufacture different kinds of songs in connection with Lord Chaitanya or those who are professional priests or paid reciters cannot be accepted in this connection. One who does not follow the principle of Pancharatra and one who is an impersonalist and one who is addicted to sex life cannot be compared with persons who have dedicated their lives to the service of Krishna. A pure devotee who is always engaged in Krishna consciousness can sacrifice everything for the service of the Lord. A person who has dedicated his life to the service of Lord Chaitanya and Krishna and the spiritual master, or a person who is following the principles of householder life, and similarly those who are following the principles of the renounced life in the order of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, are devotees and cannot be compared to the professional men. When one is freed from all material contamination, any one of the relationships with Krishna is realizable transcendently. Unfortunately, those who are inexperienced in the transcendental service cannot appreciate these different stages of relationship with the Supreme Lord, and they think that all such different stages of relationship with the Supreme Lord and all these explanations are due to Maya. But in Chaitanya Charitamrita, the author has given a very nice practical example of this matter. He states the earth, water, fire, air, and ether are the five elements, and these five elements develop from the subtle form to the grosser form. For example, in the ether, there is a characteristics which is called sound, but in the air, there is a characteristics of ether sound plus a sensation of touch. When it comes to fire, there is a characteristics of ether plus the characteristics of air plus the characteristics which is called form. So in fire, there are three characteristics. Similarly, when we come to water, there are four characteristics, namely sound, touch, form, and taste. And when you go to earth, there are five characteristics, namely sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. As there is a development of different characteristics beginning from ether down to earth, so if we analyze the different relationships with the Lord Krishna and the devotee, we find that all the five characteristics of the devotional attitude are present in the relationship of the conjugal love. Therefore, the relationship with Krishna in conjugal love can only be accepted as the highest perfectional stage of love of Godhead. There is a nice verse from the 10th canto, 82nd chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, which can be cited here. Devotional service for the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the life of every living entity. And the Lord, addressing the damsels of Vraja, informed them that their love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the only cause of their achieving the association of the Lord. It is said that Lord Krishna, in relationship with his devotees, accepts all kinds of devotional service according to the aptitude of each particular devotee. And Krishna also responds to such a devotee in a reciprocal way. For anyone who wants the relationship with Krishna of master and servant, he plays the part of perfect master. For anyone who wants Krishna as a son in the paternal relationship, Krishna plays the part of the perfect son. Similarly, if a devotee wants to worship Krishna in conjugal love, Krishna plays the part of husband or paramour in perfection. But he has admitted that his loving relationship with the damsels of Vraja in conjugal love is the highest perfectional stage. In Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto 32nd chapter, Krishna addressed the gopis and said, "My dear gopis, your relationship with me is completely transcendental, and in exchange for your love, it is not possible for me to offer anything. Even after many births, you have been able to give up all the attachment for material enjoyment, and you have searched after me. I am unable to repay your love, and therefore be pleased with your own activities." Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj has remarked that there is a class of common men who say as follows: anyone and everyone can worship the Supreme Lord according to his particular invention of some mode of worship, and he will still achieve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One may try to approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead either by fruitive activities or by speculative knowledge or by meditation or by austerity. Any one of the methods accepted will help one to reach the perfectional stage. They generally give the example that if anyone wants to reach a certain destination, he can accept one of many different paths and still reach the same place. Similarly, they say the Supreme Absolute Truth may be worshipped either as the goddess Kali or the goddess Durga or Lord Shiva or Ganesha or Rama or Hari or Brahma. Anyway, that's the absolute truth is addressed. It is all one and the same. They give an example in this connection that a man might have a different names, but if he is called by any of those names, he will answer. Such explanations by mental concoction might be very pleasing to the ordinary person, but they are full of misconceptions of transcendental life. One who worships different demigods conducted by material lust cannot achieve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The external energy of the Supreme Lord can award them some result for worshipping the particular demigods, as it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita. One who does not worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead directly cannot achieve his association by worshipping the demigods. The Supreme Personality of Godhead awards the benediction of his association only to persons who worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead and not via the demigods. It is not a fact, therefore, that everyone and anyone can reach the Supreme Personality of Godhead by worshipping material demigods. It is surprising, therefore, how a man can imagine he will become perfect by worshipping the demigods. The result of devotional service in full Krishna consciousness cannot be compared with the result of worshipping different demigods or by functioning in fruitive activities or by mental speculation. The results of fruitive activities are that either one can go to a heavenly planets or one can go to hell. Stop here for today's reading and summarize. So, as Lord Chaitanya and Ramananda Roy's discussion with relation to the um, four kinds of the relationship one can develop with Lord Shri Krishna and exchange the transcendental bliss has been discussed in this chapter. Every stage of the relationship is relatable with the devotee in whatever relationship he is with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A beautiful example has been made clear by Lord Chaitanya referring giving to the material characteristics of this material world using these five ingredients wherein each element the characteristics keep increasing as it ascends from the ether to the water to the earth, sorry, and as from ether the air, the air has the qualities of the ether, and similarly from air to fire every characteristic keeps increasing. Similarly, from the stage of the relationship of a master and servant as it proceeds on to the highest level of conjugal relationship with the Supreme Lord, the conjugal relationship becomes the most highest um, perfectional stage. And this is confirmed by Lord Chaitanya here and the Lord himself that his loving relationship with the damsels of Vraja in conjugal love was the highest perfectional stage. So we should all aim for this conjugal love of highest perfectional stage. And it is also mentioned that people who are perfectional reciters of Bhagavatam and a community called Goswami does not come under those categories who are the original six Goswamis. They are totally entirely different. It is just a community by name Goswami, but doesn't mean that they fall in under the category of six natural Goswamis and the professional readers. And there are some other communities who perform the priest like priest services. They all do not come under the pure devotees section. And the way anybody approaches thinking that they are approaching supreme personality of godhead either by worshipping like goddesses Kali or goddesses Durga or Lord Shiva or any other demigods doesn't mean that they are achieving they will be achieving the association of the supreme personality of godhead. It's only the pure devotees who can achieve the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead only by direct praying to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which this has been very clearly mentioned by the Lord in Bhagavad Gita chapter 2. One has to remember that demigods are also falls under the marginal energy of the Supreme Lord. So we all living entities are the marginal part and parcel of the marginal energy of the Supreme Lord. When even demigods are in their marginal energy, by praying to demigods, how is it possible that we can attain the supreme personality of Godhead? So it's very clearly understandable here that only the way he's direct praying to the supreme personality of Godhead, and by the causeless mercy of the Supreme Lord, he bestows and he reveals himself and he gives his association. That's the only way we can achieve the supreme personality of Godhead. So I stop here for today.